Hello again, everyone. You're now looking into the lobby of Pearson Hall at Miami University. This is where I took microbiology 3 or 5 times when I was an undergraduate. And one particular semester, it was very interesting because this was my first class, first thing in the morning at 10 a.m. on Mondays. And I had classes from 10 a.m. until 9 p.m. because I was taking 3 film courses and all the screenings were on Mondays at that time. So I would get out of that class, which would have been just around that corner there, past this weird mural. You can sort of see a mosaic, if you will, being as it is made as out of little bits, as mosaics are wont to do. And I would come rushing out of the doors and out through here. So I only had 10 minutes to get from here to my next class. This is Pearson Hall, named after an alumni who I think did a lot of AIDS research and then refused to show up after the school forked out a good hunk of dough to get that building built and named after him. So let's recreate my epic sojourn. A lot of people coming out after get across that street, work my way down. Truth be told, I cannot remember if that particular bit of objet d'art, which is fancy for art or crinkled up metal thing, was there or not. I just cannot remember. They've made several changes since I graduated here back in December '03. So as I said, microbiology took that several times. Well, the problem was I kept taking it pass-fail because I knew I wouldn't do especially well, and I didn't want it to mess up my GPA, but I kept not quite passing by enough. Rather awkward. Kept coming back, though. Probably should have taken something else, just stubborn. Crosswalk here, several other dorms off that way, Markham Center, and the gardens, the remains of Dr. Bishop, our first president of Miami University, nice Scottish fellow. Assume he was nice, he's been dead many years now. They're not helping us out here. I don't remember running into this kind of trouble getting across the street. Well, I'm going to be a little sneaky here. Oh, there's points of interest along our way. This is Cook Field. It's named for Dr. Cook, who was in charge of an insane asylum that used to be near here. Story goes, tunnels underneath the field so he could access from the asylum to the main campus. Should we see over yon? And apparently the tunnels and the asylum are haunted with the ghosts of dead madmen. That is, of course, silly. But ghosts are silly that way. So I would get out of class, and the professor always ran long, almost took up the whole break. And I'd sit in the back. I wasn't one for leaving while they were still lecturing, but I was definitely ready to get going as soon as possible. don't think that was the time I spent as much time reading the first Dune novel in class as I did taking notes, but no, that particular time it was being taught by a grad student. He was an idiot, had no idea what he was talking about. Most of the time it was a Bangladeshi gentleman by the name of Dr. Bhattacharjee, who was somewhat entertaining. That's the backstop where when I had a physics lab, we tested a water balloon launcher and somehow got a grade for that. That was nice. This clock tower you see here before you, that was built during my time at Miami. It is the first clock tower to be built on campus, but the second bell tower. Elsewhere on campus is of course, our famous Beta bells, built by the Beta Theta Pi fraternity, loose association with the Skull and Bones, the original version of Phi Beta Kappa, and probably International Illuminati and the Society of Freemasons, but who knows. Fun to speculate, though. That tower had no clock, but the bells do chime the hour. This tower has a clock, but when it was first put up, and I imagine still to this day, the bells just chime off the quarter hours, not on the quarter hours, and they just play various songs. And it was first in operation when we came back after a Christmas break, and I actually had a class in this building up ahead of us, or a person. Friendly fellow. It's called Bachelor Hall. And it started playing, and I thought I was late, so I started trying to get across this courtyard that was completely iced over. Brush with death there, always entertaining. And I get to the opposite side and the doors are still locked, so I started skidding on the way back and working around to the classroom I was trying to get to. And later we all slowly figured out that those bells had nothing to do with the time of day. But it was fun. I can already tell you we're moving a bit slower than I normally used to. Always very intent on getting to my class on time. Like I said, I had 3 film classes. All the screening periods were on Mondays, and they went pretty much back to back to back. There was an hour in between the first screening period ending and the second one starting. That's when I'd sneak back to my dorm and have lunch, and pretty much invariably I had a Stouffer's French bread pizza, some Nerd Rope, bottle of Pepsi, and I just kept watching this same documentary about Orson Welles, William Randolph Hearst, and the making of Citizen Kane. You know. Now, the other 2 film classes, their normal lecture periods were later in the week, but the first one had a lecture period that butted straight into the screening period for that week, which was a bit unusual. That course was Alternative Traditions in Film, which basically meant we watched whatever really bizarre foreign movie the professor felt like watching. And he just treated it as the Monday period is just one big, massive, almost 4-hour. Lecture a bit here, we'll watch a movie, I'll lecture some more, watch another movie. Because when you're watching weirdo, alternative type movies, of course, they don't necessarily have to run an hour and a half. And we'd watch some depressing stuff. And these